In DC, for DC. DC Radio, 96.3 HD4 and DCRadio.gov.
Welcome to the District Creators Radio Show. I'm Savvy Cherise, your host, and I'm very, very excited about today's guests who have come to grace the DC Radio airwaves with their presence today, and they are affectionately known as the Cheesecake Sisters. I'm on their website now, thefurloughcheesecake.com, and I want to read something to introduce who they are. So, severely impacted by the government shutdown early in 2019 and desperate to figure out how to make ends meet without their paychecks, two sisters, Nikki Thompson Howard and Jackie Thompson Wright, from two different federal agencies, were forced to step out on faith to support their families and prevent the bottom from falling out, which is how the furlough cheesecake was born. And when I first was introduced to this story, it was so funny because at the time I was at my full-time job, which is as a local government employee. So I wasn't impacted by the furlough when it was taking place. But because of the proximity to district government and federal government, it was very apparent that there was a furlough going on because, people just kind of disappeared. The proximity from federal government to city government is very close. And it's just like our federal government neighbors were just like gone. Mm-hmm. So it was very apparent. We're just watching the days go on. And funny enough, one of my coworkers, I said I was going to acknowledge him today, Cameron Shields, was telling me about two women at his church who had these amazing cheesecakes, which I love cheesecake, FYI, and I love sweet potato. So when I found out there was a sweet potato cheesecake option, I was like, I need to know more about these sisters. And I found out about these sisters the very next day, and it was on the Ellen Show. And I was just so amazed by you guys' story. So I'm so grateful to talk to you today, and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
You're
Cherise.
so welcome. So tell us about how it felt when obviously you went from this moment of OMG, in terms of my income, and then you went from this moment of OMG, my product, my cheesecake, is now being featured on not only the Ellen Show, you were on NBC4, Good Day Washington, and most recently, if I read correctly, you are now at Walmart. Mm-hmm. Is that accurate? All right, bring in the bells. We got new cameras in the studio, but I don't know if we have the sound effects yet. But I cannot wait to ring some bells in here. That deserves a bell ring. So tell us about what was that like from the feeling going from the first OMG to the second OMG.
Wow, and all the OMGs in between.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been surreal. Mm-hmm. The roller coaster, it feels like a roller coaster ride.
It feels like a dream sometimes.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. We couldn't have written the story. Mm-mm. It had to fall out the way God planned it because we couldn't have written this.
I know she said we're smart, but we're not that smart.
The government shutdown was major because it affected us in a real way.
Right.
As much as you try to plan, and especially, it happened right around the holidays, mm-hmm. and we decided we were going to have the holidays with our family. Mm-hmm. We weren't going to cut back. We were going to go on and do what it was we had planned to do. And that thing lasted a long time.
Right.
But we never stopped eating.
That's her favorite quote.
I love it. So true.
I love it, though.
No matter what's happening in the world, sometimes a good meal can make you kind of forget.
Absolutely.
And
especially
maybe
at dessert, too.
And that's what happened. Not only did she say we kept going with things, but she decided to do something extra to go make one of the most expensive desserts she could find and put her heart in it and then donate it. And it just so happened that beautiful sweet potato cheesecake came home with me that night.
Wow. Mm-hmm. And so then what happened?
Then she ate it.
And then I ate it.
And she ate it.
And I ate it again. No, I shared it with our mommy. I couldn't wait because this was New Year's Eve. And, you know, watch night
Wait, so
service.
was this the first rendition of the sweet potato cheesecake?
Well, it was the first updated because little did I know she's made this cheesecake before, years before.
It was
it
was a different cheesecake.
Honey, she had perfected this recipe without my permission. She didn't tell me she was doing it. She did this and had her poor little family. Not poor, because they got to eat it all. I would have liked to have been the taster, but she had them eating and perfecting this recipe. And by the time it made it to the church, it was perfected. And so this is a different cheesecake than the one I had a few years before.
Got you.
And it was so good.
Wow. So the business of cheesecake. And I love this conversation because a lot of the guests that I have to come on the show, we talk about like balancing your passion and your paycheck. You know, oftentimes people may have a interest that's not necessarily what their current career is, and they have to find a way to do that after work. But what you're talking about is something the opposite of that, where you had something that you were passionate about and you were kind of forced into. It's so funny because when I was riding here, I listened to Joel Osteen when I'm driving, and he talked about being scared into your greatness. And, you know, on the opposite end of that passion and paycheck balance is what happens when the paycheck is gone and now the passion has to be the paycheck.
You really want to know?
You know?
Keep taking that step of faith every single day. I mean, being business women, I was eating. I mean, literally, we went from eating. She went from serving the cheesecake to people to make them smile to eating to running a full-fledged business overnight.
Wow. I want to, every time we say cheesecake, I just want to open mine.
Open it and taste
Go
it.
ahead.
gotta
I
taste
just
the
feel like
sweet
that's
potato.
just so horrible for me to just eat this right in the middle of this interview. But every time you say sweet potato cheesecake, I'm like,
You gotta
oh my
taste.
goodness, it's so good. No, first of all, let me just say I'm a witness with this fork in my hand because I'm so ready. I'm a witness. The cheesecake is phenomenal, and I pride myself on being a cheesecake connoisseur. That cheesecake, that thing is good. Okay.
Yes, I'm glad. It's funny because if I had to pick a different career than what I was doing, I don't know that I would have picked baking.
Really?
Probably not. I love
know
to
I
bake
wouldn't.
and I love to cook. I just like to make people smile, right? So when you get in the kitchen and you cook, I always want to, you hand it to somebody to taste and I'm just staring, trying to see
what they're
right, if they're
well, wait till I
enjoying it.
wait till I bite into this cheesecake. Okay, you're gonna get a smile today.
Yes.
So in terms of operationalizing, so you went from like, okay, I have these cheesecakes, and now it's like you have all these orders. So what? First of all, what happened after Ellen?
Are you talking about an avalanche? The funny thing, okay,
gosh.
so we set up the website.
Wait, let's talk about how Ellen was a surprise because your reactions were priceless. So what happened on the day of the Ellen show?
So my girls were the ones who actually got us in touch with the show. The show called, and then they have this process. And you talk to, folks.
Like
and
producers
yeah,
and stuff like
so, on that day, it was just another day. We had no idea we would be talking to her. They have a nice process in place, and they got us real good. So we did not know. And Sissy and I, when we were sitting together, we laughed, we talked, we act so silly.
We were doing what's that stuff you do when you do like this? Like, we were doing all of this.
We were being so silly. So when it was time to sit down, we sat down, but
You were still just in a joking
oh my
kind
gosh,
of.
she might have showed me her nose, and I may have been checking.
Yes, we were checking each other.
Who knows what we were doing? So they got us good. When we saw her face, that was
I didn't have my glasses on. I'm so embarrassed when I
Your
looked at that video.
face is so
Her
funny.
face was the perfect surprise.
Yes,
and
and
mine
you
was like, what is that? It threw me all the way off because I was like, I don't have my glasses on. I was trying to be cute on the little interview.
That was so funny because you were definitely looking at the screen like, okay, wait, what?
You see, I got my glasses on. I can see now.
So in terms of like now being in the business of it, you were saying there was an avalanche of orders and I'm sure that came in. What happened?
So we graduated our kitchen spaces. Initially, we were preparing and getting everything together at home. Then we got a kitchen space. A church donated.
Won't he do
Beautiful
it?
church in D.C.
Won't he do it?
Won't he do
Yeah,
it?
one of our friends is the pastor, Conti AME Zion Church, and he
Pastor
actually
Mark.
said, "Come on."
Yeah, and without hesitation, they opened their
Come on.
arms, and I
love
promise
that.
you, we were there 2 days. We outgrew it that
In
fast.
2
What?
days. This is before Ellen.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
got
when
the
Ellen
phone
came,
there.
that's right. When Ellen came, it was scary. But again, God sends you angels. So another space opened their arms to us. DC Sweet Potato
Wow.
Sure enough.
Cake. They're actually out of Baltimore, based in Baltimore.
Yes.
They allowed us, invited us.
She did.
And
April Richardson.
Yes, for us to come and bake in their kitchen. And see, their kitchen, you can bake.
We could bake.
I mean, you can do hundreds and hundreds at a time.
Wow.
And then they have the storage space. So we were blessed
Wow.
to be able to use
Wait, so
them.
were you making hundreds and hundreds of cakes at a time?
Oh, yeah. When we got to Baltimore, girl, we were.
Oh, yeah, when we got to
that
Baltimore.
rhythm. But it took us a minute to get into that
It was a
rhythm.
bunch of all-nighters in the kitchen that we were using in Waldorf. I mean, we were actually paying for that kitchen in Waldorf, and then we didn't have enough. We couldn't make enough at a time.
And we didn't have enough storage space because you can't, it's not just
Cheesecake
baking.
is you got to store
You
them.
have
Yeah.
to store
And they're
it.
so pretty and delicate.
No.
You want them to be stored properly.
Right.
And see, she has 4 children already, but these cheesecakes were her new babies.
Yes.
So she was extremely protective, and she never wanted it to taste like we were just rushing through trying to
Right.
fulfill orders. So we're following her lead. She's telling us what to do. She cracking the whip and telling us how to fix them the way that she created them.
And when she says us, I mean, it was everybody. My husband, the
How
kids,
many
my
people-
daddy, my
Our
neighbors.
our friends, I mean, literally, we had
A village.
volunteers in the kitchen
Really?
every single
We
day.
did. Our siblings, I mean, they came through in a mighty,
And it's
mighty
even
way.
in Baltimore. They were coming up
Nieces,
the highway to
yes.
Baltimore to help us from Prince George's
Wow.
County.
That's beautiful.
It was awesome because we needed the
blessed.
help.
Oh my
we
gosh.
had over
It's a village.
4,000 plus orders to hurry up and get out.
Can you imagine?
All over the
No,
country.
I cannot.
I mean,
First of all,
from
how were
one-
the orders coming in? Were they coming in via email? What kind of
Website. It was
Yeah.
our website.
Oh, not
Website.
email. Yeah, through our website.
So you could click order now.
okay?
And then it was
FurlowCheesecake.com.
So are you
e-commerce.
getting alerts like on your phone?
Oh,
wait a
What
minute.
happened with the alerts? Because
So the girl said to me so when we did CNN, the phone was ding, ding. When we went on Ellen, ding, 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 ding. They said, Mama, your phone is going to turn it off, do something. It's going to, and sure enough, it shut down because it couldn't handle it.
oh my
It was ding,
gosh.
ding, 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 ding. And we
was
were
like-
literally watching
We were
it like,
paralyzed.
oh.
Like it actually froze time after a minute. It's like, wait a minute. This is what we wanted to be
Yeah,
able to
but
make
who
some
would
money.
imagine?
We got
Bombarded.
overwhelmed.
It was a good well, initially we were stuck. Like, OMG, what are we gonna do? But we quickly had to figure it out.
We did.
We had to figure it out.
We're
Y'all
still
had to have
figuring
a
it out.
strategy meeting.
Listen, all kinds, okay? When I say we did not sleep, we did
But
not.
that is a great problem.
It is. That's what
It's a
people told
great
us.
problem to have.
At the moment, though, it was like,
I'm sure it's super overwhelming,
It
but
was.
like you said, a dream. Like
it was.
you know, that's
It
really
is.
a dream to be able to experience that and to be able to look back, you know, when I'm sure you'll have much bigger future successes and you can remember, you know, the phone story and growing out the kitchens and driving up and down and having the kids and the husband and, you know, the whole family working on this operation. That's like really a big deal. Especially in the time where we need more businesses that are home grown and family oriented. I do a lot of work in the workforce development space, and I think it's very beneficial to have those type of relationships where, you know, my little brother needs a job and I have a relationship with you and you need someone to clean the kitchen at the end of the night, and you connect my little brother to that opportunity because it's a family business and you can do that,
Right.
you know,
Yeah, that's
versus
true.
us trying to maneuver our way into opportunities. We can, like the pastor did for you, have people to come into a situation that's loving and open and supportive. So that's a blessing that you guys get to create that type of situation.
That's true.
Yeah, we're blessed to be able to really come from a space where we pay attention to our community and come from a space where we want to be able to connect with people and with families and make a real difference.
So one of my favorite questions to ask on the show and to ask entrepreneurs is about their mental health and mental wellness and self-care, because when you're in business, a lot of times people become a slave to their business, right? They're working really, really long hours. They are neglecting themselves and their needs. And it makes people sometimes fall out of love with their businesses. So what do you do to have some balance while the orders are ding, 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 dinging?
I found out the hard way.
Most of us, I say us because I'm included in that as well.
I ran myself into the ground. My intent was to make sure that we're fulfilling these orders, we're getting people a great product, and we're doing it timely. And so, you know, my sissy, you see how she's looking at me.
I saw it when I was asking the question. She was looking over.
I didn't say nothing. I was just watching. I wanted to see what she was going to say.
Yeah, I found myself in a bad space, and I hurt myself. I did. And it's still hard for me to get a good night's sleep because my brain wants to do more. So I admitted it.
Well, that part I do. I mean, we dream about the business
Of course.
constantly. We're waking up in the middle of the night. That happens, but it's the push that was going on, making the cheesecakes that was hard to watch. We were all tired and we were all up at night, but her body was telling her to stop and she was overriding it. And that was hard to watch as a big sister. By 22 months,
I'm not going to say it.
okay, she usually corrects me. It says 2 years. But technically it is 22 months.
You almost could have been twins.
Thank you.
You know what?
That's it. Even though we quickly found out we were not as twinish as we thought we were when we started doing business. But watching my sister's body just break down was like, even though there were times I was thinking about us walking, we were walking at one point and I was feeling myself pick my leg up and swing it. I said, it feels like it's catching. She said, mine too. So we had this crazy walk for a minute, but it felt like I'm watching hers and hers looked more severe than me.
Wow.
And so there were times I just wanted to pick my sister up and just tape her to a bed and say, sleep. You know, it was hard because we knew we had to do what we had to do.
Right.
But it was very difficult to watch my sister go through so much pain in her body.
So how are things after that experience, or is it like is it ongoing?
Okay, so thank God. Things are so much better now. It was really, really bad. Really, really bad. I mean, the pain, I could barely move. It was just, it was really bad. But I'm so much better.
She really is.
I'm walking and talking and dancing and playing.
And dancing, walking as in exercising now. We're trying to do things we knew we could. Well, you know what? We were getting our exercise in because we were walking and moving and constantly. But now, you know, we're able to do more self-care.
Yeah. More intentionally.
Intentionally.
We
The
haven't
one
caught
thing-
up, but we're working on it.
Right. The one thing I can say, though, is self-care for me is laughing and smiling.
Yeah.
So intentionally laughing every single day, that's my life. And so they wonder why I watch the same shows, because it's just hilarious. So I go to bed on the same show and I try to watch it. I mean, it's the same. She don't like my show, but my show is hilarious. Which one do I?
Oh, the Sleepy Time show?
The one
I thought you were talking about the Ratchet TV show.
No, I don't go to sleep to that. I just watch that because that makes me laugh too. But I laugh intentionally every single day.
Laughter is
That's great therapy.
It is. It's great therapy.
And therapy is important.
Therapy is
So, I mean,
a form of self-care.
if we feel like, and sometimes it doesn't have to get technical to the point where you're going and getting someone to help you, but sometimes we sit down and lock ourselves in the car if necessary to hash out how we're feeling and what we're thinking. And we try to learn each other, because even after being together all of our lives in business now, we realized there was a whole nother layer of communication in there that we had not been introduced to until we started doing business.
Right.
So sometimes we have CEO meetings and we sit down and we do what we need to do to understand each other. We did some of it on the way here.
Some of it we did. We do it all the time now.
Awesome.
And to me, that's self-care.
It is. It's like healthy communication.
That's it.
It's establishing boundaries. It's
Do you have boundaries?
Yeah, we actually are. We didn't call it that, but we're understanding each other's space and place. And so when you get to the edge, I'm understanding that you're getting to the edge. You're almost there. Oh wait, she's there now. And then I have to be able to work. Well, when I get to the edge,
did you see that?
when I'm at my point.
I think because you're the partner.
Right.
You're the only, yeah.
But when I'm at my point too. When I'm at my point, and we're learning that, because before, it didn't matter. It was just so different before business. And then once we got into the business, she started talking some language I didn't understand.
And she started talking another one. And I'm trying to look for interpretation books. Like, what does this mean? Why does this mean?
What is she saying?
We were like, Harpo, who is this woman?
Hello. It was, the blessing is, though, that we recognize it now. Because before, I was like, ugh.
But you guys had to go through that as business partners. Yeah. And who knew you were going to be thrust into this business in this way?
That's right.
At this capacity anyway. So
that's true.
All of those things were obviously a part of the plan. And, thank God it's you two that get to work that out with each other.
I would never be in this thing with anybody but her. I'd have fired anybody else. And kept the cheesecake.
She would have fired anybody.
I would have.
You wouldn't have dealt with it? Really? I wouldn't have fired you.
Yes, you would have.
Yes, I would have.
Okay, so I want to ask a few technical questions for future and current entrepreneurs who are working. What are some of your biggest kind of like tips for entrepreneurs in terms of workflow, process, kind of tools that you use to keep the business running efficiently and effectively?
If you have time to plan your business first, I say do as much as you can before you start as possible. We literally had...
You had to go backwards.
How many days? Maybe we had like 2 days. Maybe 2
before orders really
it
started
went
coming
crazy.
In.
Like we came in and announced it, and then the next day was the first interview, then the second interview, then CNN, and then within a few days, Ellen. So it's like literally it was this huge avalanche, and so we were running behind the business. But if we could have planned it, I say, well, we're both researchers and we both like to be prepared. We're planners. We like to strategize. We would have mapped it out. We didn't have that luxury.
We didn't, but we also were blessed in that it's a cheesecake. So the target audience is somebody who's going to eat. Some of the things were built in and inherent to the process.
Yeah.
So we were blessed in that we didn't have to figure out, who we were going to sell it to. Although now we have to become a little creative in our reach. But, I would tell the entrepreneur to go for it and don't accept no. Just don't. Keep going and keep going, even when it looks like, you're at the end. You're really not. You can find another answer and keep going, because we've realized that there's more than one answer to the question, and so keep going. Don't settle. Keep going.
Can we talk about being in Walmart? I feel like that is a goal for so many entrepreneurs, not necessarily Walmart per se, but being aligned with a big retailer in that way. And hearing that about you, I couldn't help but go back to Shark Tank, because Shark Tank, when I first started watching it, showed me how much of an entrepreneur I was not.
Okay. Do that though?
Yes, ma'am. they was asking about valuations and numbers and all this kind of stuff. And a lot of times they advise people against that, depending on their business model and things like that. So there are some pros and cons to it. I think people hear a name or, look at it in a way it's like, oh my gosh, you arrived at this mecca, but that doesn't work for every business model. So what is your experience in working with a big box retailer?
Favor is just not fair sometimes.
It's not.
And that is exactly how we got there. The Cheesecake had to keep us there. But the introduction was made through the mentor that came on scene when we first started the business. And she introduced us to the senior buyer there. And within the month of our business, we were flying to Arkansas to present.
Wow.
And that does not happen.
It doesn't. And then, again, we're blessed in that she will not allow us to grow too fast.
Good.
You have to pay attention to how you scale your business. And so, we get questions like, you need to go on Shark Tank. And the answer is no, not right now.
Not right now.
And, Oprah needs something. No. If
right
Oprah were to hold up our business, it's coming. But in this space, if she were to hold up our business, we couldn't sustain because the demand would be far too great for where we are right now.
Because if that's what if you get Fairy Godmother Oprah, when Fairy Godmother Oprah gets her hands on this sweet potato cheesecake,
she gonna lose.
It's going to be a glorious day.
Oh my God!
And the blessing is
happy
we'll be ready.
You will be ready.
We will be.
Yes.
When we get to
We're preparing for that now, but back a little bit ago, it would have really overwhelmed us more.
So for small businesses, though, they should, and this is what we're actually doing, saturating our current space. So you don't have to hit a retail, especially a retail giant, to be successful.
That's right.
You start where you are, and if you have 10 cheesecakes, you have 10 people eat it. Then you take that and you multiply it, then you go 100. You don't have to shoot for 20,000 from the gate.
Right.
True.
You saturate your area, and then that's DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia is who is sustaining us.
That's right.
Because we want to saturate home.
Right.
And there's still so many people out there in this area who don't know who we are, who haven't tasted our product. So our goal is to beat it hard here.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Well, if you had one thing to share, we have a couple of moments left, and this is definitely a dream business story. So thank you so much for sharing. And for those who haven't had their moment yet, what advice do you have for them, especially the ones who have kind of been building for like 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, and they're just waiting for like, when is my Ellen moment going to be? When is my Walmart moment going to be? What advice would you give to those entrepreneurs?
Jump. Take the leap of faith and stop it. The water's never going to feel like the right temperature. The conditions are never going to be perfect. You have to take a leap of faith. Does that mean that fear will go away? No. Do it afraid. That's my favorite thing. Yeah, our knees still knock. Yeah.
Do it scared.
It doesn't stop. Do it anyway.
And I would say, too, you're looking for an Ellen moment. Your Ellen might not look like our Ellen. Your Ellen could be across the street, dressed as a crossing guard, who is going to bless your socks off by introducing you to somebody else.
Yeah.
Right. So don't sit back and want your story to match somebody else's. Your story is your story.
It's your story. Walk it out.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Please let us know how we can order these amazing cheesecakes, and then your contact information, like your social media and things like that.
Okay, so the 3Ws.thefurloughcheesecake.com.
It's where you go and you place your orders. We
online.
ship all over the country, and we have a pickup location right here in the DMV. If you want to reach out to us, our social medias are The Furlough Cake. So you can go to Twitter, you can go to Facebook,
IG,
Instagram, The Furlough Cake. And you can always Google us because we do have YouTube that we're getting started.
Yeah, subscribe on our YouTube
And there's a bunch of
Are
fun
funny too.
stuff.
So I can't wait to watch you on YouTube because I think it's going to be hilarious. Please have me in one of your episodes.
Yeah,
I can come and do a taste test because I'm about to. I'm about to taste test right now. So thank you. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you, ladies. So excited.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
In DC, for DC, DC Radio, 96.3 HD4, and DCRadio.gov.